Hello everyone, today is 16th of July. My name is Sahil and welcome to the newspaper analysis. Friends, in today's video, we will be taking up all the important articles from the Hindu newspaper. Some of the relevant articles for UPSC will also be taken from the Indian Express, Mint as well as from the PIB. Now guys, let's start up with the newspaper analysis. But before that guys, if you like our initiative, then please do like the video. Please do subscribe because it helps us to keep our initiative viable. And now guys, we will take the overview of the Hindu newspaper. So this is the page number 1, and here the first article, here we can see the Chief Justice of India is asking the government to remove the sedition. We'll see what has been there. Then guys, the other news are not very much important with respect to the UPSC. Then the city section there is there, which is the region where the regional news have been. Now much of the important news is not there. You can completely skip this particular area. Then we reach to the editorial page. Now this particular editorial is talking about the India-China impasse which is going on. We will discuss what has happened or what are the new developments. Then guys, this particular article is talking about the increasing inflation and how this inflation is problematic to the Indian economic recovery. We will see the relations. Then guys, this article is talking about the Father Stan Swamy case. So guys, into the article with respect to the UPSC, much important substance is not there. Then guys, this article is talking that how the judiciary should not interfere into the investigation and all such kind of matters. Then the next page is talking about that whether the Indian stock market is in a bubble or not. Now guys, this is a very evolving kind of things. So these trends, they change very rapidly, not very much important for UPSC. Then guys, this article talks about the Dilip Kumar. Then coming to the next page guys, here also the drone rules have been given. Then guys, here below we can see that the meet has happened between the India Afghanistan onto the Taliban issue. We will see that what has come here. Then guys, apart from this, nothing much important is there. Then guys, here we can see that again the sedition issue is coming up. We'll see. Then this article is talking about the India-China relations. We will see what has been important. Other articles are not very much important. Then guys, moving to the next page. So here we can see that the lockdown and pandemic related news is there. Then guys, on to the world page also, much of the important substance is not there. You can avoid it. We will already be taking up the India-China relation in much of the detail. Then we come to the business page. Here guys, we can see that the inflation will be persisting for a considerable time. We will already be covering it. Then guys, the financial inclusion, it is a policy prerogative. We will see that what is all this talking about. So these are all the important articles for the today's newspaper that we will be taking up. So guys, that is all. And now let's take the newspaper analysis in detail. Now friends, taking up the first article. So the first article has been taken up from the Press Information Bureau, and here we can see that the Prime Minister has made an address onto the World Youth Skill Day. Now guys, this particular attachments from here might be important for the prelims examination because some of the declarations will be discussing here, as well as into the demographic dividend, into the human resource. Some of the attachments from this article could be utilized. Now guys, first of all, talking about the most basic things, the World Youth Skill Day, it has been adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in 2014, and every year July 15 is celebrated as the World Youth Skill Day. Now guys, the World Youth Skill Day has been marked in order to keep a remembrance of the Incheon Declaration. Now the Incheon Declaration has also been called as Education 2030 Framework. Now guys, Education 2030 Framework is in line with the Sustainable Developmental Goal number 4, which talks about the equitable, accessible as well as affordable education to all. Now guys, under the Education 2030 Framework, it has been provided that all the countries, they need to make an arrangement that the attention to technical and vocational skill development, thus as well as in specifically access to affordable quality technical vocational education and training is to be made available to all the children, to all the youth. So into this particular direction we celebrated the World Youth Skill Day. Now guys, into this direction the Prime Minister has said this thing that the skill development is a kind of a new generational target, and it is a core pillar under the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. Moreover, it has also been provided that the celebration of skill is a part of our culture. Fine. Then guys, further it has also been provided that government is actively working into the direction of the skill upgradation, and more than 1.25 crore youth have been skilled under the Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. Moreover, India is also providing the smart and skilled manpower solutions to the world, as well as it is at the kind of a core of a strategy that how India can become the sub-exporter of the demographic skill sets. Now guys, into this particular capacity, one particular thing that is playing to the advantage of India is that we are having remarkably young population. More than 50% of the India's population is having is below 30 years of age. So into this particular capacity, having a vibrant youth and skilling it becomes very much important. Further guys, it has been provided that this particular year's skill day is having an important place because into the aftermath of pandemic, we have seen that the schools have been closed, colleges have been closed, vocational centers have been closed, but still the youth is emerging out to be resilient. So this particular skill day, it will be paying tribute to the resilience and the creativity of youth throughout the pandemic and its subsequent crisis. Moreover guys, the event will also be taking a stock of how TVET system, that is how the technical vocational education and training systems have adapted to the pandemic and recession, and how participants are still coping up this particular crisis. Basically guys, the emphasis is this, that the pandemic should not halt the skill sets of the youth, and how the youth have emerged out, it will be celebrated. So guys, such kind of attachments you can utilize into your mains answer. So that is all about this particular article, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now guys, this particular article here has been taken up from the Hindu newspaper. In fact, you can see so many of the articles have been there onto the Hindu, onto the different pages, and all of them are talking about the sedition law. Now guys, first of all, into the past few days, over and over we have discussed about the sedition law, which have been provided under section number 124A of the IPC, under which any person who is trying to create a disaffection against the government, he could be arrested. Now over the years we have seen that by utilizing the sedition section 124A of IPC, many of the journalist activists have been arrested. And few days back we have seen that even the Supreme Court said that now the time has come that a kind of an objective guideline is to be put, that how sedition will be utilized. Now guys, going into the same line, what has happened? Now the Chief Justice of India had asked the government that why the colonial law of the sedition is still being kept into the statute books. The CGI had attached the sedition with the freedom struggle of India. It has provided that sedition is a colonial law which was used against Mahatma Gandhi, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and why it is surviving into the law books even after the 75 years of independence. Moreover guys, the CGI had also said this particular thing, that now we need to consider an alternative stance onto the sedition, and guys, it is going clearly against the Kedarnath judgment of 1962 in which the sedition law was upheld. Even yesterday we have seen that a petition has been filed that in 1962, when Kedarnath Singh judgment allowed the sedition, at that time the interrelation between the fundamental rights of personal liberty, equality, freedom of speech, expression was not very much defined. Moreover guys, the doctrine of chilling effect, find the chilling effect onto the freedom of speech and expression, has also been propounded laterwards. Now the sedition is having a chilling effect onto the freedom of speech and expression, and as freedom of speech and expression are protected under article number 19, the sedition needs to go away. So this has been again provided by the CGI. Further, the CGI has also said that the inefficacy of the sedition we can see from the numbers. Now guys, if you see, in 2019, 93 cases were filed onto the ground of sedition in compared to the 35 cases that were filed in 2016. So here clearly we can see that 165% increase has been there onto the sedition laws. And guys, when we talk about these 93 cases, charge sheet has been filed in only 17% of cases, and the conviction has been in just 3.3% cases. So we can see that in 97% of the cases there was no conviction. So therefore sedition is not having a kind of an effectiveness. Further, it has also been provided that according to the data by the National Crime Record Bureau, in 2019, 21 cases of sedition were closed on account of no evidence, 2 were closed for being false, and 6 cases were held to be the civil disputes, but they were filed under the section 124A. So all these data are very much important, which you can directly utilize into your answer in order to prove that how sedition is turning to be an ineffective law. Moreover guys, as we are now saying that the judiciary is now taking a different interpretation than the Kedarnath Singh judgment case, it can be seen that recently the Justice D.Y. Chandrachud also said that it is a time to define the limits of the sedition. Further, guys, into the Vinod Dua judgment also, it was said that it is the right of every journalist to criticize, even brutally, the measures of the government with a view to improve or alter them through legal means. So now if you are criticizing the government, it cannot be said that you are trying to create a dissatisfaction or disaffection against the government, and therefore the sedition will not be applicable. So guys, into this particular direction, now the sedition is being severely questioned, and now even the Supreme Court will be looking into it, as already yesterday we have seen that a petition has been admitted and the proceedings will be going on to it. So guys, that is all about this particular article. It will be highly important for our GS paper number 2. Please keep it in your mind, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now guys, this particular article has been taken from the Indian Express explained section, and one attachment, one similar article has also been there into the Hindu newspaper. Now guys, this particular article talks about the Afghanistan situation. Now first of all, talking about the most basic and background information, guys, you might be knowing that now the USA had pulled out from the Afghanistan. USA had signed a peace deal with the Taliban, which started in 2020. It has also been many a time called as the Doha peace deal, and as a part of Doha peace deal, now USA had withdrawn from the Afghanistan. And the moment USA had withdrawn from the Afghanistan, now the Taliban is becoming more violent. It is basically taking away the territories into the Afghanistan. The ultimate Taliban's target is to capture the Kandahar, because Kandahar used to be its headquarters when the Taliban ruled into the Afghanistan from 1996 to 2001. So guys, now a kind of a crisis has again come into the Afghanistan, and India is particularly very much concerned because the Afghanistan, number one, Afghanistan is our neighbor, and India into the neighborhood policy always assures that the stability into the neighborhood will be provided. Number two, if terrorism will be becoming prominent into the Afghanistan, the spillover effect will be coming into the India. Fine. And thirdly, India aspires to be a regional power and then the global power. So first, being the regional power, it is the responsibility that the situation into the Afghanistan needs to be resolved. Now guys, into this particular direction, the Minister of External Affairs, Jai Shankar, he had met the Ashraf Ghani, and they had discussed the situation into the Taliban. Now guys, what has happened into the Afghanistan, basically the administration is very much concerned that how the Taliban can be pulled back and how it can be avoided so that it cannot take away the important and strategic cities. Now into this particular direction, guys, already the Afghanistan government, it is conducting a review of the Afghanistan National Defense and Security Forces, their military strategy, so how they can be effective against the Taliban. But guys, we have seen that the Afghan forces, they are not able to fight Taliban effectively, and even few days back they have ran to the nearby countries such as the Tajikistan. Now guys, into this particular direction, what has been there, a kind of a concern has been there into the India. Now this particular meeting that has happened, it is a first high level meeting between Delhi and Afghanistan since the government of India, it decided that it will be pulling out the Indian personals from the Kandahar. Now from the Kandahar consulate, we have pulled out all the personnel, and guys, already in 2020 we have closed 2 of the consulates into the Jalalabad and Herat. So now guys, by pulling out the staff from the consulates, we are shunning the diplomatic connect that was existing between the India and Afghanistan. So number one problem has already been there, that the diplomatic engagements will be reduced. Number two, guys, even into the Afghanistan, we are having a large number of infrastructure that we have created over the years, and now that particular infrastructure's security, safety is also being threatened. So now guys, into the Afghanistan scenario, let's see that what infrastructure has been developed by India into the Afghanistan. So guys, first of all, the basically the infrastructure development has happened majorly after the 2001. Because in 2001, what happened? There was the attack onto the World Trade Center into the USA. In response, USA troops came into the Afghanistan and they started to bring the peace and stability into the Afghanistan, and under the protective umbrella of the USA, India had carried the investment into Afghanistan, and up till now approximately $3 billion assistance by India has been given to the Afghanistan, and this particular assistance has been used to create the infrastructure, to develop the capabilities of the Afghan forces, as well as to supply them many of the important equipments. Now guys, one by one, let's have a look onto the important infrastructure projects that have been taken by the India. Number one is the Salma Dam that has been developed by India into the Afghanistan. It is a 42 megawatt project, and guys, it has also been called as the India Afghanistan Friendship Dam. Now it aims to provide the electricity as well as clean drinking water to the people, and it is located into the Herat province of the Afghanistan. So guys, basically here what we are doing, we are trying to build the capabilities of Afghanistan in terms of the basic dignities of life. Guys, the electricity, clean drinking water are the basic dignities. Then guys, the next is the Zaranj Dilaram road or the Zaranj Dilaram highway that has been developed by the India. Now guys, just focus on to this particular map. Here we can see that we have Iran and this is the Afghanistan. So onto the border of Iran and Afghanistan, there is the Zaranj, and from Zaranj, the road has been developed up till the Dilaram. So guys, this Zaranj Dilaram highway helps that India can go till the Iran. Find India by the waterway. India can go to the Iran by waterway. Into the Iran, there is the Chabahar port that we have built. And guys, from the Chabahar port within the Iran, we will be going till this particular part where the Iran and Afghanistan boundary is there, and here this particular road will be taken if India wants to go into the Afghanistan, and through the Zaranj Dilaram road we will be reaching this particular ring roads fine which have been developed, and this particular ring road is developing many of the important cities into the Afghanistan. For example, the Kabul, fine, the Ghazni, okay, the Herat province where the Selma Dam is also there, it is also connected. Kandahar is also connected, and by this guys we can go and provide assistance into the Afghanistan, carry on the developmental projects, and for even for the trade we can use this particular route. Now when we talk about the Zaranj Dilaram highway, it has been an important development into the Afghanistan, and so many of the Indian personals, Afghanistan personals have also been killed into the development of this particular road. So it signifies both the sacrifice, the development, as well as the cooperation. Then the next is the parliament building. Now the Afghanistan's parliament building has also been developed by the India, and India had dedicated and has said that it is the tribute of India towards the democracy into the Afghanistan. So guys, this is also one important gesture and infrastructure project that has been developed. Then guys, the next is the Store Palace which have been developed into the Afghanistan. Now the Store Palace has been the place where the 1919 Rawalpindi agreement was signed, which gave the Afghanistan independence. Then guys, the power infrastructure has been developed into the Afghanistan by the India. Now into the power infrastructure, when we talk about, many of the transmission lines and many of such kind of projects have been developed. Then guys, into the health sector also, India has developed the health infrastructure, had developed the hospitals, had provided the many of the vaccines, many of the medicines to the Afghanistan. Then guys, the next is the transportation sector. So in order to enhance the mobility into the Afghanistan, many of the transport buses, utility vehicles, etc. have been provided by India. Then guys, there are many other projects also which are going on, such as the Sulabh toilets are being built, solar panels are being deployed into the villages, and guys, there are many of the ongoing projects also which are focused on providing the clean drinking water, building the toilets, fine. And guys, it has been provided that 100 community development projects are there worth $80 million which are still going on. So guys, all these particular developmental projects that have been taken by the India, it had created a kind of a cooperative relation between the Afghanistan and India. And guys, within the SAARC, Afghanistan happens to be only major country which is appreciative of India's concern. Now all this particular thing which has been done over the 20 years might be going for a toss given the security situation which is evolving into the Taliban. Moreover guys, with the Afghanistan, we are also having a bilateral trade which have increased into the recent years. Approximately $1.3 billion bilateral trade is there, and guys, this particular trade has been majorly also possible because of the Zaranj Dilaram road that we have developed, because by that route only we are getting the connectivity into the Afghanistan. Moreover guys, in 2011, India as well as Afghanistan has signed the strategic partnership agreement which further elevated the relations. So now bringing a kind of a stability into the Afghanistan is very much important, and into this particular direction only Indian Foreign Minister Jaishankar Jaishankar has met the Ashraf Ghani into the Afghanistan, and we are hopeful that into the future a kind of a respite will be coming. Now guys, but into this direction, first of all, responsibility should be taken by the USA, because the pullout has caused this Taliban, basically the Taliban's expansion, and secondly, the regional powers, that is the Russia, China, and India, needs to come together in a responsible manner. So that is all about this particular article, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now guys, this particular article has been taken from the Hindu paper, and the two articles we have clubbed here. Now guys, basically they are talking about the recent meet that has happened between the India's foreign minister and the Chinese foreign minister onto the lines of the SCO, that is the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Now guys, first of all, the SCO meet has happened into the Tajikistan, and into the sidelines the Indian and foreign Chinese minister, they have met, but the differences have been emerged, and guys, it has been seen that the convergence might not be coming into the near times. Now, before going into this particular article, first of all, very basic thing, we have used the word SCO. What is this SCO? So guys, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, it is an 8-member economic and security bloc within the Central Asia, which has emerged as one of the largest trans-regional international organization. Now guys, the 8 members of SCO are India, China, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and Pakistan. Now, the countries such as the India, China, Russia, they are not the part of a Central Asia. They are basically they are other geostrategic players. But guys, the aim of the entire region, or the aim of all the players, is to bring the stability within the Central Asia. So this is the SEO. Now guys, as we have met into the SEO, the India and the China, what has happened? You can see that first of all, the Mr. Jaishankar, he said that there are many of the unresolved issues between the India and China, and they are visibly impacting the relationship in a negative manner. So this thing was said by the Minister of External Affairs. So a kind of a responsible approach was shown. Moreover, it was said that we have achieved a considerable peace between the India and China, and guys, since 1988 the relationships have been very much good. Moreover, there have also been the agreements that we have signed, such as the agreement in 1993, which restored the peace. But now into 2020, the considerable freeze has come into the relations. But guys, in response, the Chinese foreign minister, he said that we need to keep the border dispute in an appropriate place. He said that we should not discuss it right now. Rather, we should now discuss the converging points. We should discuss that how we can increase our bilateral trade, how we can increase our economic engagement. Just leave these disputes here. So here China is showing a kind of a selfish kind of attitude, where China is more concerned about increasing the bilateral trade, because it has been very clearly known that when the India-China bilateral trade is concerned, India is always into a deficit and China is having a comparative advantage. So this particular approach has been here. Now guys, what has happened? Last year, into the 2020 October also, India and China have met into the Moscow in Russia. At that point of time, the China's attitude was very much different from what it is depicting now. At that time, China was also very much eager that the impasse that is going on to the LAC needs to be resolved. But now such kind of thing is not there. The reason, number one, why such kind of thing is happening, it is because in 2020 guys, there was a lockdowns and severe restrictions was there, and for a considerable time there was a kind of a possibility that the bilateral trade between the India and China might also be going down, number one. Number two, you might also be knowing that at that time India also imposed many of the bans onto the apps, and many of the apps from the China were also there. So basically China was considered that if the disputes will not be resolved, then the bilateral trade might get impacted. But now guys, in 2021, we are seeing that actually the bilateral trade between India and China, it has reached to the pre-pandemic level. Even a better enhancement is also there, because large number of medical supplies we are getting from China, and many of other electronic equipments, etc., which we were earlier also getting, we have resorted back such kind of demand from the China. So now China is not very much concerned. So therefore, a kind of a casual approach can be seen into the China's attitude. Moreover guys, the China had also said that the responsibility does not lie with the Chinese side for the LAC crisis. Fine, it blames entirely the India for the LAC crisis. Fine, so such kind of thing has happened. Now guys, basically this particular thing shows that the attitude of China is not responsible when the regional stability, regional peace, and resolving the issues with the neighbors is being concerned. So guys, that is all which have been provided into this particular article. Apart from this, nothing much is there. Please keep such kind of dimensions into your mind, because if such evolving things will be there, you will be able to form a kind of a comprehensive outlook of to the international relations and related matters. So that is all about this particular article. And now guys, we'll be moving to the next article. Now guys, this particular article has been written by the R.K. Raghavan, who was the former CBI chief. Now guys, he is talking that how many a times judiciary interferes into the investigation process. It directs the police officers that okay, this person is to be arrested, this person is not to be arrested, and many a times it reduces the morale of the investigating officers, and it is not good. This is just the one point which have been made. Fine, apart from this, nothing has been there which is important into this particular article. If you want out of leisure, you can read it. Otherwise, for UPSC, much substance is not there, you can skip it. So guys, that is all about this article. And now we'll be moving to the next article. Now guys, this particular article, it has been taken from the Hindu newspaper. Two articles we have clubbed here, and they are talking about the increasing inflation into the country. Now guys, first of all, when we talk about the inflation, there is the Monetary Policy Committee whose target is to control the inflation. And under the mandate that has been there into the Monetary Policy Committee, it has been said that maximum 6% of inflation could be there. Basically, there is a band, okay, and the band goes from 2% to 6%. Is it clear? Now, but it has been seen, guys, that what has happened over the last 2 months, this particular upper limit of 6% has been breached. For example, there was the 6.3% inflation for the month of May and 6.26% inflation for the month of June. Now, when we see this particular inflation, guys, it is coming at a time when the economic prospects are also very much limited. There is a kind of a stagnation into the job market, and therefore a stagflation can come right now into the India. So this, into the weak economic prospects, inflation will be eroding the purchasing capacity of many of the people. So therefore, it is not good. Now, when we talk about the inflation, guys, we find that at the retail level, inflation is largely being propelled by the sharp increase into the prices of the food items, including the oil, fat, pulses. In all the way, the prices have been increased. So, guys, here it has been provided that the government needs to cope up in between that how the inflation can be reduced. Second factor that is increasing the inflation is because of the issue that, guys, now the oil prices have also increased. The petrol and diesel prices have been at all-time high, and as high petrol and diesel prices will be impacting the transportation cost, and the transportation cost will be increasing the food prices, and at the end of the day the inflation will be increased. So guys, government also needs to consider that how the high prices needs to be reduced in terms of petrol and diesel. Now guys, into this particular direction, first of all, if you remember, we have just seen yesterday an article from the Mint where we have seen that into the OPEC, the impasse has been over. A kind of an agreement has been reached by between the Saudi Arabia and the UAE, and because of that, number one, a kind of a hope is there that now the international oil prices will be coming down. But guys, meanwhile, India, the government also needs to reduce the taxes onto the petrol and diesel which are there, so that the prices of the fuel comes down, and because of that also little bit respite into the inflation could be achieved. Now guys, if inflation will not be controlled, rather than having an impact onto the consumers' consumption pattern, it is also having many other problems. For example, there are many of the medium and small scale units. Now these medium and small scale units, earlier they were impacted by the lockdown shutdowns. Now because of the inflation also there is one impact. Now the raw material which they were procuring, it is turning expensive, and into that capacity the production might not be viable for these medium and small scale industry. And then guys, what has happened this year, it has also been said that the monsoon rains will be less than the last year, and because of that the prospects into the agriculture sector has also been reduced, and because of this further the inflation might be increased. So guys, now a kind of a multi-dimensional approach is needed to be taken by the government. Now the RBI had said that for a considerable time the inflation may go up, but then around the month of October, November, it may come down. But guys, this particular time window might be very much disastrous for the consumers from the medium and small scale industries and many of the people who are there into the informal sector. So some of the urgent steps needed to be taken. So guys, that is all about this particular article, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now guys, this particular article, it has been taken up from the Hindu newspaper as well as from the Mint newspaper, and it talks about the draft drone rules that have been announced by the Ministry of Civil Aviation. Now guys, first of all, the draft drone rules at this particular point of time are very much important, because we have seen few days back that a drone attack into the Jammu and Kashmir was there. Secondly guys, when we talk about the drones, fine, it has been seen that into the times of pandemic, there are many of the aspects where drones could be important things. For example, into the delivery of medicines, into the delivery of medical equipment, in providing the supplies to the district hospitals, etc., as well as in many other aspects also. The logistical needs can be improved if a judicious use of drone is there. Now guys, when we talk about the drone rules, what has happened? Ministry of Civil Aviation released these draft drone rules 2021. Now they are into the public consultation, they have been put, and public will be giving the comments. Now they will be replacing the unmanned aircraft system rules 2020, which were notified into the March 2021. Now guys, the intent of these new draft rule is to make the user friendly regime for the drones in India, as well as to encourage drone research and development. Guys, when we talk about India, one of the aspiration of India is also to be a drone hub, and when we want to be a drone hub, research and development in deploying the different varieties of drones, testing them, etc., needs to be scaled up. So into this direction also, these new rules will be helping up. Now guys, let's take up some of the brief features of this particular rule. Number one, it has been provided that the operators of the drone, they must generate a unique identification number for each of the drone, and this particular number will be generated from the Digital Sky platform. Now this Digital Sky platform has also been initiated as a part of these new rules. Now this Digital Sky platform, it will be providing a secure and scalable system to support the drone technology framework. It will be used for issuing flight permissions, as well as it will also be used for managing the unmanned aircraft operation and the traffic which is there into the air. All of such kind of things will be managed by this Digital Sky platform. Moreover guys, this Digital Sky platform, it also offers the safety features for the drone. For example, it provides that no permission, no takeoff regime. Fine, until and unless the permission is not being given, the drones cannot fly. So it basically the collision between the drones, etc., is not there. Such kind of things will be seen. Then guys, real-time tracking will be there. Then the geo-fencing of the drones will be taken up. So this is a good thing. That is the Digital Sky platform which is being taken up. Further guys, it has also been provided that the number of forms that were to be filled for seeking the authorization for the drone operation, they have been reduced. Earlier 25 forms were needed, now it have been reduced to 6. Now guys, you don't need to remember the number that 25, 6. You just need to keep into the mind that the due diligence has been reduced. After that guys, it has also been provided that apart from the unique identification number, a certificate of airworthiness for the drone will be needed. Then a remote pilot license will be needed for the person who is controlling the drone. Fine, the prior permission will also be needed. However guys, the prior permission will not be needed for such kind of drones which are being used for the research and development by the entities such as the educational institutions and such entities which are recognized by the union government, state government, or the union territory administrations. Moreover, the startups which have been recognized by the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, they don't need to take the prior permission. Now guys, it has been provided that earlier when we talk about the drone rules, it was provided that the foreign operators, they were not allowed to operate the drone. It was said that the principal place of business needs to be India, but now the foreign operators, they have also been allowed to operate the drone. So a kind of a liberalization is also coming into this particular aspect. Now guys, it has been provided that with respect to the drones, one more important aspect is also there, that the capacity of the drones, it is also being increased from 300 kg to the 500 kg. Now why this particular thing is important? Because now we are exploring the idea of drone taxis, fine, to enhance the mobility, because we see that into the cities the congestion, etc., has been increased. So this particular thing will be paving for the experimentation into the drone taxis, as many of the startups such as Uber, etc., are exploring such kind of things. So guys, these are the new draft drone policies. Keep all such kind of things into the mind, because as government is going forward for the reforms under the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, many such kind of reforms are there, and within the civil aviation such kind of reforms also become very much important. And as into the Jammu and Kashmir drone attack was there, so with respect to the drone, the regularization etc., it becomes very much important. So that is all about this particular article, guys, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now guys, this particular article taken again from the Hindu newspaper, and it is just talking about the financial inclusion as how it is a priority for the India. By the way, guys, when we talk about the financial inclusion, it basically means that every person in India, he needs to have the access with respect to a bank account. Then also he needs to have an accessibility with respect to any of the mechanism where he can invest his money. He needs to have the accessibility with respect to any of the loan and all such kind of instruments. Fine. So you having a bank account, having the investment opportunity, having the loans, having the accessibility with respect to the insurance, health insurance, etc. If such kind of things are there, you are financially included. Most of the times, guys, we consider that just having the bank account is a financial inclusion. Okay, so this is the idea of financial inclusion. Now it has been said that now every person in order to grow needs the accessibility with respect to the finance, and therefore the financial inclusion of every person is very much important. And into the post-pandemic world, as a financial recovery is to be made, basically the financial inclusion, providing the accessibility with respect to the microfinance etc., to every person becomes very much important. So therefore it is a policy priority. So that is just one important argument that has been made into this particular article. After that, guys, this particular article is also talking about the digital adoption into the India. Now here some of the numbers are there which might be coming handy when you are writing any answer on to the digital penetration in India. It has been said that into the India digital adoption has been very much good, and even the world countries are looking forward that how India has done so much well. And into the financial ecosystem, the digital penetration has been revolutionized by coming of the UPI, by coming of the companies such as the Paytm, PhonePe, etc. Today when we talk about the digital transactions into the India, guys, they have increased every month, and into the month of June 2021 there were more than 15 crore transactions amounting to 4.5 lakh crore rupees per day. These are all the digital transactions in India that has happened. Then guys, when we talk about the UPI transactions, then into the month of June there were 280 crore UPI transactions that has happened. So basically the digital penetration in India has been very much good, and by coming out with the UPI, it has further been revolutionized. Further world countries are also looking forward for the India. So such kind of things have been provided into this particular article. Apart from this, guys, nothing much important has been there. So that is all about this particular article. So friends, I hope that you have understood the today's newspaper analysis, and I believe that it is serving a utility for you. Thank you so much.